End of the day, you got one place to look at. And that's with you. That's where the shift got to begin. That's with me. Stop using these stupid ass excuses. Welcome back, y'all. It's your boy Kevin B. The Brand, and you're on with another episode of Dear Legacy. This is number 13, y'all. My favorite number, one of my favorite numbers, number 13. I think it was one of my favorite numbers because I wanted to rebel. A lot of people used to be like 13 is an unlucky number, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna make it I'm gonna make it lucky. You know what I mean? Like lucky 7 and all that. Anyways, off a tangent or whatever. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for tuning in. And if this is your first time here, I want to pick up where I left off last at episode number 12. Well, we talked about that feeling, that quiet, hard to name feeling that sometimes that we tend to deal with when life is off, right? And I haven't sugarcoated for you guys. It's sometimes life be life, and life makes things hard. I'm recording this episode right now, and it was supposed to be released today. So that means you're probably not going to get this for another day and a half, 2 days from now. But you're getting it, right? And I don't, like I said, I tell you guys the truth. I think when you're on a journey together and you're building something, and we're talking truthfulness and talking about building this legacy the way that we wanted to build it, we got to be vulnerable. We got to be transparent about certain things. And this one was a tough week for various of reasons, and I've been pushing through. And it's crazy to see, coming from the last episode, like we talked about at 12, where that feeling that we feel, and it's just, things are off, but just don't know why, and you're just trying to push through the stuff, and the confusion and all that stuff, and knowing that it's a signal that's pointing you to somewhere all at the same time, right? And if you sat with that, if you actually paid attention to it, then you would already know what it was pointing you to. And we've probably known for a while. And the question is, have you been honest about that situation? Right? Because this is where episode 13 is going to live. Not the signal, but the truth behind it. And that's where we're going today. Excuse me for all the pauses. It's like I have my iPad up with my notes, and I keep missing where I'm trying to be, because I don't want to go on a tangent neither, right? I'm trying to stay on topic with you guys. So let's just jump into it, because there's a moment where everything becomes clear. Not because something new happened, but because you finally stopped avoiding what you've already known. You ever catch yourself saying the right things, making the right plans, and talking about the things that you're going to do, right? But not actually doing it. And I think that's where I've been in the past few days, and why I'm late actually recording this situation now, right? Because it's like I've been saying and I've been planning, but I just haven't been able to do that thing. Not because I don't want to, because I have fun when I'm doing this, right? I like putting out the messages out there. Even working and putting it together, gathering my thoughts. It's something that I like doing, because there's another form of therapy for me, right? And it's like I said, if you guys have been with me for this journey, I'm trying to get it to a point where now we could open up the floor for others to come out there and start sharing their journey, start sharing what their legacy looks like. But before I get there, I want to hit those points that I said that I wanted to hit. One, for you to get to know me, and for us to have these real conversations, and we start learning things about ourselves before we start hearing from others. Because one thing that I do know is, we'll hear things from others and then it'll sound amazing, it'll be great, and it's motivational, and we want to go do that thing, and then not realizing that we're not ready to go do that thing, or that thing was not for us. It just sounded great, but you missed the part that you were supposed to hear to help you get to your great part, right? And yeah, so this week it was a little bit off, to say the least. And again, like I said, for various reasons. And it wasn't like I didn't want to. Like, I literally was trying to, but I just couldn't, right? Um and sometimes it's just something that's in you that's just holding you back for whatever reason that may be. And instead of calling it what it is, we dress it up and say we just need more time. We say we're waiting for the right moment. We say that we're still trying to figure things out. But if we're being honest, that's not what it is. The truth is, you already know what needs to change. You've been known. You've just been avoiding it. And that's where people stay stuck. Not because they don't have the answers, but because they're not being honest with themselves. What? And I think for us today, we just got to stop avoiding that situation. And we're going to call it what it is. Because the moment you stop trying, because the moment you stop trying to lie to yourself about the situation that you're in, I feel as though that's the moment things will start to change. But I think first we got to address the elephant in the room, the lies that we tell ourselves, in order to make ourselves feel good in that moment. But before we even get into that, we got to get into the deeper stuff. I want to start to tell you about the stories we tell ourselves every single day. What stories is that? Because most of the time, we're not lying in a big dramatic way. It's the small things that we're lying about. The quiet justifications of certain situations, right? The phrases we keep repeating, the reasons we come back to every time. We don't know what we said we would, and then feel reasonable. It's all lies. They feel real, but deep down we know the difference, right? The difference between what it really is, a reason and an excuse. And that's what we need to look at right now, right? I don't know. This thing is reading wrong. All star. Prime example. One of the famous lines that we always say, right? I'll start when dot dot dot. And the dot 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 is not the legacy dot dot dot. Yeah, I mean, it's legitimately fill in the blank, because that is one of the most infamous lines that we'll ever hear. I'll start when, and then the when is the when. When do we actually stop? Because waiting for the right conditions is just another way of us not starting. That's all you're doing. I'll start when I get enough money. I'll start when I get the right equipment. I'll start when I lose these couple of pounds. I'll start when. When is when? Because waiting for the right time instead of actually making the decision now is way more detriment to the success that you could have later on. Convincing yourself you need to have a better conditions for that for more money, more time, more certainty, planning it out over and over in your head, but never taking the first step. That was me. I told you guys, this took 2 years before it actually came to fruition. This is the third iteration of this logo. Third iteration. Why did I focus so much on the logo and not putting the message out there? I was so focused on getting the right equipment. I was so focused on getting the right aesthetics. Went from this space when it was just an empty basement and no studs, no nothing, and putting up backdrops and getting the table and all that other stuff. And then just to turn around and be like, oh, we're going to finish the basement and actually build out the studio. And then now I got to find a makeshift space. I got to make that space look perfect before I could actually hit the record button. Why? It all goes back to I'll start when. I'll start when it looks this way. I'll start when I get this camera. I'll start when I get this microphone. In reality, I was just delaying the process for whatever reason. Maybe out of fear, maybe overthinking stuff, maybe going down rabbit holes, and maybe trying to compare myself to other people. But yet, I'm seeing it comparing myself to other people that's already press record. They're not doing the I'll start when. They already started. At one point, they had to start. You think they was comparing themselves to everybody else? You think they're so concerned about what if I don't get the likes, I don't get the views. At some point, everybody started with just 2 to 5 views. And they consistently built those 2 to 5 views to 15 views, 30 views, 45, 100, 150, 1,000. But all they had to do was press record. They just had to start. They didn't keep saying, I'll start when, I'll start when. Because my whole thing is, I'll start when with no date, no actual plan in motion, still tweaking things that, yes, your logo matters. Yes, the thought processes behind these does matter. But at the same time, it don't matter. Because we could figure that shit out later on. But we just delaying the inevitable right now. The right time has been coming for a while now. And it just keeps moving. It'll come, it'll pass you. It'll come, it'll pass you. That's how time works. It's not going to pause and wait and be like, hey, I'm here. I'm who you've been looking for. This is the right time. You just got to make the right time work for you. And if I'm being real with myself, what I've been putting off, I already knew I needed to start. I've been knowing I needed to start Dear Legacy, right? I had the plans. I had done all the research. I knew everything I needed to do. And I kept saying, oh, I'm going to go sell this house. And with the commission, then I'll be able to get the cameras, the lights, the this, the that. No, I didn't need all that. Most people start with just a phone, and get you a decent mic and your laptop. You're good to go. You build from there. I didn't have to go this route. I chose to go this route for whatever reason it may be. Call it perfect conditions, but I could have started this thing back when I thought it was supposed to start. I think the original date was supposed to be, if I remember correctly, I had made the bet with Alex, and before the bet with Alex, there was a date before that, and I think the date with Alex was for like end of July or something like that. Then end of July became October. Then in October, we're like, well, I don't want to do things in the middle of the holiday break, so I'll just wait. And then eventually, I just had to say, fuck it. And I hit record, put the trailer out, put the teaser out. I wanted to build up a bunch of episodes beforehand, and it didn't work out to that favor. And I was like, all right, well, in January, I could record a bunch of episodes, and then I'll do the release for February. No, I had to tell myself in that moment, if we don't have the time to bank up the episodes, then we're just not going to bank the episode. We're just going to put the trailer out. We're going to put the teaser out. And every week, we're going to sit our asses down and record an episode. And when we find a couple of free times, then we'll bank a couple of episodes here or there. Till then, just got to keep going. And when later becomes your default, your start is telling yourself another story. That's what I want you guys to stop. That's what I want you guys to avoid. Because the next thing you're going to tell yourself is you don't have the time, right? Because you're spending time, because the time you're spending, you're literally just questioning whether it's going the way you said that it wanted to go. That's why you're questioning it. You're telling yourself you don't have time, but yet you made time for other situations. I made time to do the research on a bunch of different stuff. I made time to break down this thing, go to the store and pick out that, and then look on Amazon and look on DGI and look on this and look on that and look on Road. You know what I mean? We had the time for all that. Why can't we make the time to just sit down and say, I'm going to start? Saying you don't have the time while spending hours on things that you don't move forward with. Third iteration of this logo. Third. You know how many meetings I had to have? You know how many times I had to sit down? Hey, I'd rather it this way. I'd rather it that way. We could have just put the word Dear Legacy and then figure out the logo later on. You know what I mean? Your calendar and your priorities don't match what the truth is actually telling you. And that's the God's honest truth. Your priorities and calendar is just not matching. That's the truth. Distractions are real, and so are your choices, right? You choose to get distracted by certain things. I don't know if you guys remember the day that it was a few episodes back, I was supposed to be recording some stuff, and I got frustrated over by sending an email out on my Apple iPad, and it kept saying, get Outlook for Mac. And I got irritated because I would always have to erase that and then put my name and then and I knew on my list of stuff that I wanted to do is get my signatures done. And I'm not going to say I wasted because it was something that was on my list, but it wasn't top priority at the time. Top priority at the time was to do, I forget what I was supposed to be doing. I think I was supposed to be recording or doing something else. And I took that 2 to 3 hours of time where I could have been doing something else and bumped things out of the way. That was a choice. I made that choice, you know? And by making that choice, I can't then in turn say, I don't have time. I have the time. But I chose what to do with my time also at the same time. So you can't say you don't have time. The things you make time for reveal what you actually value. Not what you say you value, but what you actually value. Do I think I actually value email signatures? No. But are you putting the value and the effort and the work into the thing that you said that is the importance, that is the priority? And I think that's where we lie to ourselves. I think that's where the disconnect comes when we saying I'll do it when, or I don't have time. I don't have time often really means this isn't a priority right now. And if somebody looked at how I spent my time last week, would it reflect what I say I'm building? Going back to last week, put personal issues aside, put things that you're going through aside. No, because what I said I'm trying to build is this thing with you guys. It's my other pod. It's my other businesses. I'm getting more clients in for real estate. Putting more content out there to grow my movement and my channels and all that other stuff. I didn't put out any videos for real estate. I didn't put out any episode for Dear Legacy. I got one episode out for Please Excuse My Balls, but Roots to Reality, we stack episodes. So there's episodes in the bank for that one. So in actuality, am I doing what I said I wanted to do? Last week, last week I said I was not gonna be going to the gym. I was gonna wait till the first to start going to the gym. So I'm not gonna hold myself accountable for that. But at the same time, it's still not reflecting what I say I'm trying to build. And that's the God's honest truth. You don't find time. You decide what matters, and your actions will always reflect your real priorities, not the ones that you say out loud. And after a while, those small excuses stop feeling like excuses. They start feeling like facts. When you keep telling yourself, I'll get to it when, you start believing the lies that you're telling yourself. When you start telling yourself, I don't have time, and you start filling it in with a bunch of, that's when you start filling it with a bunch of busy stuff, because you have to make that real. I'm not working on the thing that I said I want to do because I don't have time. See, look at it. My calendar's so full. No, that's busy work. That's what you're doing right now. You're staying busy to justify the lies that you're telling yourself. This is just how it is. Because at some point, acceptance without intention becomes a trap. So now you start telling yourself that this is just how it is. Is it though? Settling into situations you're not actually okay with, but stopped questioning it. That's what you just did. It is what it is. You're settling. You started believing the lies, so now you're going to settle it so you don't question your movements and your decisions that you're making right now. You start normalizing the frustrations instead of addressing the frustrations that you're having. And I'm not saying here to say you got to go beat yourself up because you're frustrated with yourself because you're not getting the things that you said that you want to get done. Excuse me. It's just at this point you're convincing yourself things can't change when really you just haven't pushed back on them. You know, one of the best things Tiffany ever tell me is I start telling her some stuff and she'll listen. She'll listen attentively, and then once I hear this one line, oh, I know the raw truth is about to come. When she goes, I'm gonna have to push you back on you on that. I'm gonna have to push you a little on that. Or I'm gonna have to push back on that. And in the moment, I probably don't want to hear that. But I understand she's pushing back on my thought process and the words that I'm putting out into that atmosphere. Because I'm starting to believe essentially the bullshit that I'm spitting. And as my partner, as somebody who believes in the vision more than I believe in the vision, she got to push back on it. That's and I'm forever grateful for that woman, because most people, and I said this the other day, I was having a conversation with a couple of people, and I was like, I'm the friend that's gonna tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and that's what Tiffany is for me. My partner in crime. I'm going to sit there with the woe it's me, the world's against me, I don't have time, and I'm really trying to make this thing successful, and da 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 da. Well, I'm going to push you back a little bit on that, because remember when you was doing this over here? And I had asked you, I said, hey, I thought you said you was going to record. Hey, I thought you said you was going to do this. Hey, and you was like, oh, no, I'm going to do this instead. Oh, I'm working on this. You made a choice. You had the time. You wasn't waiting for no perfect time. For whatever reason, you're not living in your truth right now. And now I got to push you to your truth. Accepting things at face value because change feels too uncertain or too hard. That's what we're doing when we're lying to ourselves. Because deep down, you know it shouldn't be this way. You just stop saying it out loud. And the reason why you stopped saying it out loud is because you started believing the words that you was telling yourself. That's a problem. It really is. You really have to ask yourself, where in my life have I been accepting something that I know needs to change? And for me, I would honestly have to say that it's not even procrastination anymore. It's still along the lines of I I say that I want to do this, but I could get easily distracted in that. Even though that might be something that needs to get done at some point, it's almost as if like I have when I sit in the journal, I put my priorities list and I write it down, but then I go against the grain. I go to the secondary list. Why? Because the secondary list, and I think a lot of people will relate to this when I say it. The secondary list is easier task. That's why it's a secondary list. The priority list is harder tasks. It's going to be more time consuming. It's going to challenge us. And we'd rather work on these secondary ones because at the end of the day, once the secondary ones get done and the priorities don't get done, you still tell yourself and believe that you was actually successful and you won the day. But in reality, did you win the day? I can't say that you did win the day because if you have 2 top priorities that you're supposed to get done and you got none of them done, but out of the 5 secondary priorities, you got 3 done, somebody's going to tell you and somebody's going to actually believe that they won. They won the day. And they didn't. You told yourself this is the priority and you did not do it. So how are you counting that as a win? And I know it sounds like I'm contradicting what I'd be telling you guys on Thoughts of the Days and even on this. You got to take the small wins. But the small wins would have been, hey, I started my priorities list. I got halfway through my priorities list. I didn't accomplish both of them, and I didn't even make it to my secondary list. But man, am I further along with that first priority that I wanted to get done. And now when tomorrow comes in, I'm not going to add a new priority. I'm going to finish that first one and then get to the second one. And the secondary ones, they could wait because they're secondary. They're not priorities. We could shift secondaries. Secondaries are usually tasks that's after you complete the priorities, other things that you could get done. And it's not a priority because these are the priorities. Recording is the priority. Releasing is the priority. Making sure my email signatures are perfect in line and it has all the information that you need. Guess what, Playboy? Nobody's emailing that inbox because you ain't give them nothing to email you about. I hope you get what that means, right? Because like I didn't do the priorities by recording, editing, and releasing to get out to the masses, to start this movement. And then when somebody wants to be a guest on the show, or when somebody wants to partner with the show, or wants to do a collaboration with the show, it's not there for them to see. So why does it fucking matter what the email inbox says? Because nobody's emailing you to email them back. You see what I mean? And I think that's how we got to look at these priority lists and these secondary lists to stop lying to ourselves. Because yes, I accomplished a task that needed to get done, but it didn't need to get done now. It's a pointless task. I spent months working on a logo that, yes, it matters. Yes, it means something to me. And I love the meaning behind it. I love the way the font is and all that other good jazz. But I could have just wrote Dear Legacy and left it at that, and it would have still worked. And then guess what? I could have redone a whole new logo rebranding. Acceptance without intention becomes limitation. And the moment you stop questioning something is the moment it starts controlling you, right? And once that mindset settles in, you stop being aware of the situation. You stop looking inward. You think, hey, I'm still getting things done. So I'm winning. I'm being successful. But if you go back to what the greater picture is, you're not being successful. We're just not. And once you stop looking inward and you start looking outward, that's when it starts to get dangerous. You know what I mean? Because we're not looking at oneself. We're going to now start blaming everything else. Don't have time. I'll start when. These are the lies. And then now you start blaming everything else. Oh my God, the job has got me so freaking busy. And that's why I can't get my project stuff done. Oh my God, I don't have clients. That's why my real estate portfolio is not growing. Are you cold calling? Are you sending out the flyers? Are you following up with past clients? Are you doing marketing on social media? Are you meeting the clients where they're at? Stop lying to ourselves, man. Sometimes now I want to get into that next core theme, which is what are we actually avoiding at that time, right? And once those lies that you told yourself start to become your normalcy, something else starts to happen, right? Right underneath your very nose when you're not paying attention. You start avoiding things. Not always consciously, not always on purpose, but there are things in life where you're steering around every single day. Just steering yourself clear around it. The hard conversations, the uncomfortable decisions, the not getting to the priority list and sticking to the secondary list, the real work. And the reason we avoid them usually comes down to the same three things. So let's call those things out, right? Avoiding the real work. Because being busy and making progress are two completely different things. I just kind of broke that down for you, right? Going to the secondary list rather than accomplishing at least half of the priority list. Staying productive with things that feel safe instead of doing what actually moves you forward. And I think a lot of us have that problem, right? We'd rather stay in our little comfort bubble, stays nice and safe, where we don't have to really challenge ourselves with anything. And in doing that, we make ourselves feel as though we're doing something, but we're really avoiding the things that we need to be doing. The things that we say that is going to elevate us to the next level, that's going to move the legacy forward. Those are the things that we're avoiding because it's too hard, it's too difficult. We don't want to deal with it right now. I'd rather feel like I accomplished something. I want wins, so I'm gonna go to the secondary list because I got to get those wins. The real work really usually lives outside your uncomfortable spaces, and those are the ones that we keep skipping, right? The uncomfortable spaces, doing the things that feel productive on the surface, but don't really actually change anything. Easy tasks that we give that give us that feeling of progress without the result of real progress. We check the box. Secondary list is checking boxes. Progress, that's in the priorities list. That's in the actual doing of the harder part. If it's hard, chances are that's the part you need to be doing. If it comes easy, if you finish it quickly, maybe that's just your talent, and that's why you're able to finish something so quickly. I don't want somebody to think, oh, just because I finished so fast, I mean, like, oh my God, Kev said, then that means I'm not really doing the priority list. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying at all. Some people just got God given talent. Whereas some things that might be a priority list, they're just burning through it. And then maybe that's them probably lying to themselves also by putting secondary items in a priority list. So it looks better at the end of the day. That's a thought. The things you keep avoiding is usually the things that matter most. Ain't that the truth? Avoiding recording, avoiding doing the cold calls, avoid doing the being outside. The things that you know you need to do in order to grow, that's going to benefit you, that's the stuff that you keep avoiding. Avoiding those conversations at work to find out why you keep getting passed over, or what is it that I need to do in order to get to that next level for the promotion, right? I think a lot of us will sit in our little bubble, want a promotion, want to get to that next level, but yet we're not seeking out our direct line supervisor and be like, hey, at some point I want to get here. Can you explain to me where am I missing? Where am I falling short? Where am I? We don't want to hear those conversations. So you'd rather just sit there knowing that you need to figure out why it is that you're not getting to that next level to fill in that gap, to have that uncomfortable conversation where they're going to read you and tell you, hell, they might tell you in that situation, you're just not ready. And some people don't want to hear that part. So they'd rather just not have the conversation rather than be like, you're just not ready. So have a follow-up question. What do I need? What do I need to do to get ready? I can't just take that I'm not ready. What do I need to do to get ready in your eyes to get to that next promotion? Those are my 9-to-5ers. My entrepreneurs, our baseline questions is, why am I avoiding this thing? Is this something that I really want, or is it something that is popular and I wanted to do the popular thing, but I don't have that God-given talent, that innate thing to get me to that next level, or and maybe it's not even a talent level thing. Maybe it's just not a passion level thing, right? Because some of us might have the talent to do certain things, but if the passion's not there, the talent ain't never gonna match. The talent will fizzle out. You will burn out if there's no passion. Microphone, passion, easy. Script writing, notes, developing speeches in public, perfect. I could give you a speech on the fly all day, every day. Just give me a room, give me an audience. Now, when I got to sit here like this, me, you, that's it. Nobody to talk with, bounce a little ideas, see where this conversation is going to go, feel the conversation in the pockets, and then that's me. I could do that all day, every day. This part, I got to work at. I got to work at this part because the freestyle in the speech, the freestyle in the show, that's cool, but we need the cadence. We need structure. Why do we need the structure? Because we don't want to be going off on tangents. We want to make sure that we're staying on message, staying on brand, that people can get the information that you said that you're trying to give them. And I asked, what's the one thing that we know could actually move us forward, but for whatever reasons we're just not? Honestly, guys, I can't answer that. I hope that you could answer it for yourself, but I'm still trying to figure that one out. Because I know the things that'll propel me forward. And it's not like I'm not doing the things. It's just I'm not staying consistent with the things. Because that's another key element of this whole thing. You could be doing it, but are you going to stay consistent? Are we going to stay consistent when there's no views, no likes? It's hard. You're tired. Life been lifing. I am living proof. Life's And sometimes I fall back. And now you that's out there that's been with me faithfully listening, you're tuning in and there's nothing there. What are you going to do? You want that information, so you're going to go get it somewhere else. And we all know, those of us that's in business, those of us that studied marketing and all this other great tools, we understand once you lose somebody, it's harder to get them back. Fresh eyeballs is easy to grab. You might even capture. Retain? That's consistency. You did the first two parts. Now consistency's fucking you up. Because we out here just being busy and thinking that it's the same thing as making progress. And sometimes is just to keep you from avoiding the things that you don't want to actually deal with. You don't want to change. I'll raise my hand right here. I don't like change. I don't like change one fucking bit. Change irks my nerves. And I understand in order to evolve, in order to grow, things got to change. But boy, let me tell you, I don't fuck with change. And I don't fuck with it because of the unknown, to be honest. Once things start going a certain way, I like it just like this. But at the same time, I want it to be growing like this. But in order for it to be growing like this, things need to be changing. And then once you throw another monkey in the the moment things start changing for the better, then we stop losing that consistency. Once we start losing that consistency, we go back to lying to ourselves, and the cycle just starts to repeat. Now you're playing catch up. Now you're doing the woe it's me situations. You see how easily one thing could derail a lot of other things? It's crazy. And most of the time, we avoid it for all of one reason: to protect our comfort. Because comfort feels safe, but it's costing you more than you realize. That's the part. It feels safe. We all want safety. But my entrepreneurs and my hybrids, ain't nothing safe about being a business and being an entrepreneur. That shit could be booming today, tomorrow gone. Throw it in the trash like a hot garbage on a summer's night. Bad. And then you start to climb back up again. It's a crazy roller coaster ride. But if it's something that you said that you want, if it's something that you're passionate about, if it's something that you have some innate talent or God-given ability about, it's hard to walk away from that. It really is. But when you stay in that safe zone, it's costing you all of that. And you have the talent. You have the gumption. You have the thing that's going to take it to the next level. But you're so afraid and avoiding things that it's costing you. It's costing you to be safe. Choosing what's familiar versus what's necessary is costing you. Staying in certain situations, building bad habits, relationships that you probably should have severed a long time ago, whether it be for your relationships with your spouse, whether it be relationship with friends, relationship with family. Some of those things that you don't realize, these bad habits and these relationships that we keep around because it's comforting, it's a safe zone. It's killing you slowly at the same time. They're derailing you because your peace is not protected. And we talked about this on another episode. You got to protect your peace in this journey. This shit already ain't easy. And you giving away your most prized possession, time. And then you're going to give away peace on top of it? I don't know. That's a tough one to swallow. Avoiding discomfort even when growth is on the other side. You know what's on the other side if you do the things, but you're avoiding it. Why? I know if I do this and stay consistent here, I'm going to grow. But for some reason, I avoid it because of potential discomfort, because it's not safe, because it's unknown. If you really think about it, so much in your life already has been unknown and you charted it, right, wrong, or indifferent. You still did it. So why is it this part that you're afraid of? You came out on the other side on so many different situations. What makes you think this one can't be the same? Because you've been lying to yourself. Then you started believing those lies. Then in order to not face the facts, you just avoid those same situations. We sitting here holding on to things that are just not even working for us. Rather than just letting go, let God, and take on that scary moment. The longer you're willing to stay comfortable, the harder it's going to get to move. And I think even with starting with Dear Legacy, it was staying in my comfort zone because it's not like I'm shy behind the mic. I'm the most free behind the mic. But that little person inside is, well, what if people don't like it? What if people don't gravitate towards it? What if I don't get the views? What if I don't get the likes? Now I'm just looking stupid on YouTube at 40 plus. That's when I'm going on to YouTube to do this thing. I'm trying to figure out my life as a father, a husband, trying to gain businesses. And then I'm going to put my life on the line for everybody to see. I'm being vulnerable for people to make fun of me. It's scary. I get it. But in reverse, why aren't we thinking about I could be helping somebody? Why aren't we thinking about I could go viral? Why aren't we thinking about there's another stream of income that I could create? What am I not thinking about the groups of people that I come together that's like-minded, that's trying to build a legacy? The fathers that feel as though that they're not being seen can now finally be seen in a place where it's cluttered, it's loud. You worried about views. You worried about likes. You worried about being embarrassed. Meanwhile, your 8-year-old don't give a flying fuck about none of that shit. And he swears he has a phobia of being embarrassed. He says it's a thing. I don't know. Whatever. But he's willing to do the scary thing. Even with his fear of embarrassment, he still says, I want my YouTube. Even with all that, the uncomfortable, the unknown. Well, what if they don't like me? What if they don't like my drawings and my game that I'm creating? Yeah, but if 5 people like it, is that enough? That'd be cool. What if 100 people like it? Is that enough? That'd be great. What if 1,000 people like it? Oh my God, then I will try to figure out how I'm going to sell it. That's the conversation of an 8-year-old. But I'm worried about the same thing I'm telling him. I need to be telling myself, what if 5 people tune in consistently? That'd be great. What if 15 people tune in consistently? Shit, that'd be awesome. What if 1,000 people consistently showed up every week for you? Shit, we got some. I'm not here for 100,000. That's great. I would love it. I would love to build out a 100K plus, 200K plus, a million. But in order to get to a million, I got to make the one. And I got to make the one keep coming back. That one turns to 3, 3 turns to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 13. 13 to 22, 22 to 31, 31 to 41, 41 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 1,000. Just takes one. But in order to get the one, I got to get out of my comfort zone. Got to get out that comfort zone. Because we all out here sitting there holding on to something that's not right just because it's comfortable. And I know for a fact there's something that I'm holding on to right now. I ain't going to say it, but I know. If you know me personally or you really want to know what I'm talking about, DM me. Because I'll tell you, you know, there's certain shit that I'm holding on to right now that I know I should probably remove it, pivot from it, or, not or, in order to get to the next levels that I'm trying to get to. But I'm being scary. But you got to think about it at the same time. I am a whole ass husband. I am a whole ass dad, and I got responsibilities. So it's not just about being scary. It's about being reasonably logical thinking. But that don't mean stay in this little bubble. You could be logically thinking. You could think with reason and all that shit all you want, but still go chase after this situation at the same time. Comfort will keep you safe, but it'll also keep you the same. Comfort will keep you safe, but it will also keep you the same. Because growth is always going to require you to step outside of it. And sometimes you ain't even got to go far, baby. You just got to step outside of it. Might not even be a long distance. You just got to get the one. One will turn into 1,000. But you got to make them want to grow to 1,000 by staying consistent. Stop lying to yourself and don't avoid the situations that you know you need to be doing. Because one thing's for sure, two things for certain. If you stay there long enough, you start needing a reason for why it's not your fault. Because nobody's ever going to blame themselves. Why? Right? It's that person's in my way. It's I didn't get it because of you. And it's so saturated. Nobody's going to hear my voice. How do you know? You're just saying that as part. We might as well go back to the first segment. That's a whole new lie that we're telling ourselves. When we're blaming everybody else and never ourselves, we have a bigger problem that we need to address. Because the moment you stop owning it, that's when you lose the control. That's when you lose the ability to change it. You no longer in control of the situation. You can't control a situation you don't own. You know, the greatest rapper of all time just had a crazy freestyle. You know, taking shots at another rapper that I am a fan of, but you know, it's Hove all day. And you could ask my wife. I said it. I love the Iceman album, except for 3 lines, 3 bars. I could have done without, but music is an art form, and that man wanted to express himself, and he expressed himself. But come for the GOAT. The GOAT's coming right back, You know who the fuck his name is? It's Hove, right? That man said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the line verbatim right now, but he said, don't talk tough to me when those folks own your masters. You can't control a situation if you don't own it. You could try your best to control a situation, but if you don't own it, what you changing? And I go back to when you're blaming everybody else, but not looking at yourself. How you changing that shit? Because now you no longer control it. You're saying it's those things and that thing is why I'm in this situation. So you just lost all control now. You don't own this. They own it. Because you out here blaming timing, circumstances, other people, and letting yourself off of the hook. It's easy to point to them and not you. But in reality, you should always. And maybe it's part of we got to take our ego out of the situation, because all honesty, if you do the inner work first, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to realize that, damn, I'm fucking it up for myself. Maybe it isn't them. Now, it could be them, but not all of it is on them. You play a vital role in this also. Shifting the responsibility is a comfortable short-term situation, but it keeps you exactly where you are. You're not growing. You're not developing. You're not learning. You're staying in your comfort little bubble. It's safe there. I get it. We all want safety. But just remember that safety is costing you. But don't blame other people because you wanted to play safe. Don't blame other people because you've been making excuses for 2 years. Don't blame other people because you didn't stay consistent after lying to yourself. There's only so many times we could say life was lifing. Life can't life every other week. Not for some of us. Not for some of us that are trying to do things out there that require you to do the inner work, to stay consistent, to show up. When life is lifing, that's when you really want to show up. Not everything is your fault, but your responses to everything is your responsibility. What? It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility? Which one is it? Which one? Because if it's your responsibility, it's your fault. If it's not your fault, it was never your responsibility. You could definitely be acknowledging what happened and still own what you need to do next. Where have you been placing blame? When I actually have more control than I've ever been willing to admit. I control all this. I built a whole damn studio. There should be no reason why I cannot, at some point in the day, come down here. I have perfect conditions. When I was upstairs, I could only record at certain hours of the day because the lights was coming into the blinds and all that other stuff. Now, I built a perfect condition type studio for me to always create, whether it be for real estate, whether it be for media, whether it be for speaking engagements, whether it be a space to write for my writing that I keep putting off. You want all these things, but yet you stay putting things off, not staying consistent. So who are we really fooling at this time? I understand you can't control everything, but you can't control, you can't grow if you don't own anything. ownership is where your true power lies. That's where it starts. You can't control everything. And when I think about it, just in that bullet that I just saw, I thought, because that's the reflection piece, and it automatically hit me. It was like, I can't control everything. But I can't use that line as a crutch either, because there are some things that I can control. And I'm choosing not to control it. So how can I ever own this thing that I say that I want? Until I take that true ownership, that's when I could actually take control of this situation. Whether I can control everything or not. And when you stop looking around for somebody else or something else to blame, and now this new fucking line that I keep saying, and I just realized it in a moment, I hate that line now. Life be lifing. What in the fuck does that actually mean? Like, literally just sitting here recording this episode, I've said it about like 3-4 times, and I know when I talk to people, I'm like, man, life was lifing. Man, I didn't get to it because, life be lifing. Oh, my next favorite one that I always say, the devil out here playing. The devil could be out here playing all he want, but I'm covered by Jesus, and I know this. So why am I letting the devil win? It's crazy to me. Life be lifing. So take on life. Take it on. You ain't trying to change. You ain't trying to change the whole goddamn world. But you letting life be life and take control of your life. Take control of the situations that you said that you want. End of the day, you got one place to look at. And that's with you. That's where the shift got to begin. That's with me. Stop using these stupid ass excuses. Because in all reality, life ain't lifing. The devil ain't out here playing. You out here making these choices. You out here not showing up for yourself. You the one not going to the priorities list. You the one going to the secondary list. You the one telling yourself these lies. But once we figure out that we want that change, that's when we start choosing honesty. And once we choose honesty, that's when we gain our ownership back. Now, here's where it gets real. Because this isn't about tearing yourself down. I know it was heavy. But we're not here to tear each other down. This was me actually legitimately. I think I wrote this script a few weeks back with all my bullet point notes, and it was triggering me. So it feels as though like I'm beating us down and I'm beating myself up. We're not here to tear down. It's not about guilt. It's not about shame. For sure not to beat yourself up. It's just to ask ourselves some true, honest questions. Because once we ask ourselves these true, honest questions, that's when we start to get some clarity of the situation. And there are steps to getting there. Calling it what it is. Owning it without pushing yourself, without punishing yourself for it. Right? We got to be moving forward with clarity. That's where growth actually lives. So let's get to the segment, call it what it is. Because growth doesn't start with motivation. I could give you all the thoughts of the days. I could give you my best speeches. I could give you my best rants. But none of that is actually going to change anything until you're ready to change something. But you got to be honest with yourself. It's where it starts. We got to name what's actually going on. instead of softening it. I was just on the I just recorded another pod for Roots to Reality, and in the conversation we was talking about fathering our sons, right? And when we was talking about it, one of the main things that we said is we talk to our sons like and have adult conversations with them. So why are we not having adult conversations with ourselves? Instead, we're using kid gloves and we're softening the situation rather than just being honest and really digging into it. Dropping the justifications you've been carrying around. That's what we need to do. Stop justifying everything that's gone wrong. Seeing your situation clearly, not the version you've been telling people, but the real version. I don't have it near me. The journaling. Actually utilizing that journaling the way you tell the people to do it. There's the priorities and then there's the secondaries. Why are we jumping straight to the secondaries when we haven't even really scratched the surface of the priorities? That's seeing the situation clearly on what I'm doing wrong. That's now seeing the version of myself that I'm telling you guys that I'm being on this journey. This thing doesn't require our audience. That's why I think this is like the greatest form, because it's just me and you. No audience yet. Speaking it into existence. No audience yet. Except for my faithful that show up every week that shows up. And even when I don't drop something, you still come back the following week. The numbers dwindled down a little bit. I lost two along the way. I think consistently we've been at 7 or 8. I think now we're consistently at 5, 6. But that's my fault. The 2 that left is because I was not showing up for you. So why should they show up for me? I got to be able to do this without an audience. Because it doesn't require audience. It requires me to be able to do the quiet work. Me to be honest with myself. Me to stop lying to myself. Me to own my shit. Once we could start seeing things clearly, that's when you could finally deal with it. You got to ask yourself, what's the honest version of where I am right now? Not the one that I said out loud, but the one I am right now. And if I'm being frank, I'm not saying there's a massive disconnect, but there's a little disconnect. There is. I'm still placating to the safe side sometimes. I'm still placating to the comfort level sometimes. Now, I step out, but it's not like I'm stepping out 10 toes down. I'm stepping out and I'm dipping my toe, and I felt a little chill and now I'm pulling back. Rather than just being like, you know what, fuck it, throw my whole body in that pool and it's gonna be cold for 3 seconds. Then you're going to pop up out that water. You're going to stand 10 toes down. And guess what? Feel the warmth of the sun off your body and nothing else is cold. Because it feels amazing right now because you was already hot. You was hot on that sideline. You was hot not getting it done. You was hot not being consistent. And it's not enough to just put your toe in no more. Because when you just put your toe in and you pull back, it sends chills through your whole body. Now you got scared. You're trying to protect yourself. You don't want to look inward and be like, you know what? It really isn't that cold and I'm really hot over here. The logical thing to do is to just put my whole body in chill it down for the 3 seconds, but I know when I stand up, it's going to be perfect. Because I'm not trying to be perfect out here in the hot sun. I'm trying to be perfect in that water, standing 10 toes down, feeling nice and cool. And guess what? Half your body's not going to be hot. Half your body's going to be cold. That's what life is when you're stepping out. When you stepping out on that thing, it's a crazy ride. Half hot now, half cold. But you know what you could do? That half of you that's hot, you just slide the fuck back in there. Slide back in there. Take a quick little dip. Refresh. That's the rebranding part. That's the part where it's like, damn, I lost a little bit of. I'm not gonna get lost though, because I could just dip myself back in there. I dip myself back in and I step back up on my. And you know what never changed? I'm still 10 toes down in that. That's crazy. That's growth. That's the growth part. Because we're doing the inner work. We're not standing in the safe zone. We're not playing it safe. We're not staying in our comfort. We're stepping out. Boy, is it so much better in that water. Even when you come out that water, you strut different. You feel different. It's no longer hot like that no more. Because you chilled. And once you call it what it is, you now got the own it part. But here's what you need to understand about that. Ownership without shame is still kind of difficult. Because taking responsibility isn't punishment, it's power. You see how we just reframed that? It ain't no longer, taking on that responsibility is no longer punishment, it's power. Owning where you are doesn't mean you're judging yourself for how you got there. It's just holding yourself accountable. It's holding yourself accountable. Not a weapon to turn against yourself, but it's just a tool to hold yourself accountable, to know if I'm holding myself to this standard right here, I should always be able to look inward. I should always be able to look at that man in the mirror and know that I'm not going to play this woe is me game. I'm owning the situation right now. I'm going to stay, hey, I think I'm falling off a little bit. Hey, fella, let's get back out there. We know what we got to do. Here's the standard. In case you forgot, this is the standard. You set the standard because you owned your shit. So now this is the fucking standard that we're going to be. In the pool, cool, chilling. All right, we slipping a little bit. Our shoulders is out the water. Maybe instead of staying in at the 4 feet, let's go down to the 5 feet. That way our neck is still out. Just our head is out. So we breathing. We ain't treading water. We're 10 toes down. We breathing. We living. We maintaining. Life ain't life, and the devil ain't playing. The goal isn't about making you feel bad about the moves that you're making. You just got to make the moves. The moves are going to be different. It's supposed to be different. It's supposed to be hard. You want this. Show us that you want it. Because some of us walk around here shameful because when we look and hold ourselves accountable, we're like, damn, then we get to the woe is me. We're down on ourselves. We're being, no. Taking responsibility and accountability and doing the work within is not supposed to be a weapon used against you. It's supposed to, you out here looking for motivation from everybody else when you could be motivating yourself. One of my things that I go around and I tell, I'm him. I'm him. Every time I say it, it's not for other people to see and agree and say, yeah, you him. That's for me. I have to remind myself, I'm him. Behind this mic, I'm him. Not rapping mic, like speaking mic, podding mic. You rappers out there, stay over there. Y'all him over there. I'm not him there. Overall, I'm him for sure. I'm that dude. I'm confident in myself. And I have to do that in order to remind myself who the fuck I am. You know, Hove did that interview for the whole GQ spread, and he was asked a question about the whole Kendrick and Drake shit. And I think his answer was profound. And it's not like he ain't never said it before, but in that moment, he said, why in the fuck do I care about their beef? Respectfully, I'm Hove. And that man walks around with a certain bravado that, damn, you really got to think about it. That man goes to sleep and wakes up knowing I'm that motherfucker. It ain't because he's a billionaire. It ain't because of it's because he knows when he walks into that fucking room, he walks in as himself. He don't care who he meeting with because he's him. I'm in this meeting with you. I'm blessing you with my presence because I'm him. You need me. I don't need you. Because I already created something for myself, and I know if this don't work out, I'm still gonna be great because I'm gonna do the hard work. Especially if you told me no. I'm gonna fucking do that hard work, and I'm gonna show you why you should have never fucking said no to me. Been doing that since 96. But I'm afraid to do some consistent shit 90 days. Some consistent shit for 120 days, for 6 months, for a year. I'd rather stay safe for 2 years and never put nothing out. And I sound aggressive right now, but I'm not beating myself up. I just want you to realize certain things. There's that internal work that I have to keep doing nonstop. Like, you got to look at it. Some people, it's a body of work of 30 plus years. And then you got to think about the 30 plus years that we know of from 96 to 2026. What about the years when they were shopping shit around and everybody was telling them no? What about the years when they was putting the project together for them to even give to people for them to tell them no? You see what I'm saying? Like, now that man wakes up and says, I'm him. And how can you say he's not him? Look what he's accomplished. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Look what he accomplished. By simply saying, I'm him. Staying true to himself and staying 10 toes down and staying consistent and putting in the hard work, not staying in the safe zone, stepping out of his comfort zone because he was doing his own shit over here. Even his own family told him, nah, you're not it. Step aside, young fella. Put chip on it, battery in the back, went, stay consistent until it happened because he knew where he was going. You know where you're going. You know what you got to do. Remind yourself that you're him. When you're reminding yourself of that, I want you to take real ownership right now without using it against yourself, without using it to feel that there's not enough. I want you to take ownership so you can remind yourself that I'm him. Because once you take ownership of whatever it is that you're going inward and you know what it is that you got to do in order to get that growth and get into that next level, remind yourself you're him. Take control. And in order to take control, you have to own your shit. Ownership isn't punishment, it's power. And the moment you take responsibility, you take that control back. And once you own it, you're now in position to now actually move forward. Nothing is going to stop you but you. There's going to be forces and elements out there to slow you down. There's going to be forces and elements in your way. Hell, it might not even work. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what it is. It might not even work. No matter how much passion you put behind it, no matter how much work you do, no matter how much you stay consistent, it still just might not work. That's okay. We're going to learn from it and we're going to keep growing. That does not mean you're no longer him. What made you him is taking control and taking ownership, taking responsibility. No more telling yourself lies, coming out of your comfort zone, standing 10 toes down, and you could say you did it. You attempted, you tried, you succeeded, you failed, you stumbled, you grew. Whatever comes after that part of taking ownership is what's going to let you know that you're him. Take ownership so we can move forward. Because moving forward with clarity is the best thing you could possibly do for yourself. There's no more confusion of what needs to happen because we're clear as day. We took the ownership. We took on our responsibility. We're no longer lying to ourselves. We actually have a plan, not the delays of 2 years playing around with things that are not on the priority list and dealing with the secondary list to make it seem as if we're winning the days and being successful when in reality all we're doing is being busy. No, that's not what we're doing. We have a plan. We have a deadline. We have dates in place. We're executing. That's what we're doing now. The moment we take that ownership and we start moving with clarity, there's no more confusion. The direction is clear when you stop pretending with yourself. Things are no longer the way they are. Life is no longer life, and the devil out here trying to play with your name. Man, that ginger ale is flat now. It's the small steps that we got to take. All right. It's the small wins. And when I say the small wins, I'm not talking about going back to that secondary list. I'm talking about legitimately completing your priorities list. You didn't finish number 1 on that priorities list for the day, and you have number 2 still there. And that means tomorrow we're going to pick up at number 1 and we're going to finish that. We're going to also look, why didn't we finish those 2 priority lists? Are our priorities too grand to be completing in a day? Because I want us to set ourselves up for success. And I'm a big what did I put? Oh, here it is. I sit here, I do my journaling, I have my priorities list, and then y'all be reading a little bit too fast for me. I want to turn this around, but like I have these laundry lists that just keeps growing. And I have the date here. It's from 6/1. From 6/1, we're currently 6/3, and I've crossed off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items. I have 4 that are technically priority. Oh, I could cross that off. 8. 8. And there's about 17 on one page, and I don't know how much is on the second page because that was the secondary list. 17 items I put on the priority list to get done on 6/1. Was that realistic? Maybe. I don't know what else is on what's really on that list. But maybe it shouldn't have been 17. Maybe I should have kept it at right around 12. Right? If I kept it at 12 and I had 8 done, that's a good pivot point. But that's data. That's data for me. I'm not being realistic with my time. I'm not time blocking properly. And when you're time blocking, Are you allowing other things to come into that space of the time block that you put off? If I say I'm going to block off this time for writing, I shouldn't, and writing for my Substack, writing for the book, that should not be writing for bullet points and my scripts and all that other shit for the pods. Those are, you have your own block over here. And I think for me, if I'm being honest, I think that's one of my biggest mistakes that I do. I think this list is realistic, but I think my time blocking is what's messing me up. We have to remember we don't have to fix everything right in that moment. We just have to keep moving. Keep moving in that forward direction of whatever the priorities list is. Even if we don't finish that full priorities list, that is more of a win than completing 3 out of the 5 secondary lists, because they're secondary items. You put them as secondary item for a reason. So why are you treating it like a priority? So if you're being honest with yourself, figure out what steps you need to take next. Clarity doesn't come with motivation. I could sit here and tell you all this and you listened. I appreciate you for listening, but it wasn't about motivation. It was about you actually taking ownership and control of your situation, whatever it may be. 9 to 5, entrepreneur, hybrid, fatherhood, husband, whatever the situation may be. Clarity does not need motivation. It just needs movement. And once you know, boy, once you know that part, it's hard to not act. Something wrong with my mic stand. I'm going to use the other one going forward. And once you know that, guys, I promise you, it's different. So now it's not about what you know, it's about what you're going to do with it. Let's flip it back on you so we can wrap up. Question I have for you is, what have you been telling yourself that you know is fully not true? Because we all have them. The stories we've told so many times, they stop sounding like excuses. They started sounding like facts. But facts don't require you to keep convincing yourself. Excuses do. The truth doesn't always feel good, but it'll always move you forward. Next question. What have you been avoiding that you know actually matters? Because avoidance is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It just shows up in the excuses, in the delay, in the feeling that something important keeps getting pushed back. And over time, that thing doesn't disappear. It just grows louder. Avoidance doesn't remove the problem, it just delays the growth. But that's it. Avoidance doesn't remove the problem, it just delays the growth. Question 3. Where have you been making excuses instead of making decisions? Because as God's honest truth, there's a difference. An excuse explains why you didn't do it. A decision moves you towards what you will do. And the moment you stop reaching for the excuse, you take control of the decision. Excuses they're there to protect your comfort level. The decisions are there to change your direction. Question 4. What would your life actually look like if you stop lying to yourself starting today? Not the life that you're talking about, the one you'd actually be building. Think about it for a second, right? Because honestly, don't just change how you feel about things, it changes how you move. And once you move different, your life starts to look different. So, in essence, honesty just creates clarity, and the clarity creates the movement. Just got to be honest with ourselves. Stop lying to ourselves, man. And if we're being completely honest right now, what's one thing you know needs to change? Not two things, not a whole fucking list, just one thing. Because you know what it is. Like, even in sitting here and I'm trying to think about this question, it would have to be consistency. You was riding a quick little wave of consistency, but that's the one thing. If I change that one thing, it changes so much different avenues for so many different lanes. We've been circling around this whole episode, and once you name it, you can't pretend that you don't know it or see it anymore. You already known. You've been known. I knew right now, right off the rip of my mind. The moment I asked the question to you guys, I knew right then and there. Not a list, not a paragraph, not none of this. I knew one thing, one word: consistency. It got it going good when I was consistent. The moment I fell off, things started dropping. This is not hypotheticals. This is facts and numbers to back it. But now that I know and I can't unsee it and I've put it out there, you guys now know. What am I going to decide? And what are you going to decide to do with that? And once you're honest with yourself, everything starts to shift. Not all at once, but it will shift. It will. And you know it will because you know by being honest with yourself that that's the thing that I need to change in order to change the direction to keep me moving forward. That's it. For me, consistency. For you, what is it? Let's wrap it up. The truth is, you already know. You've been known. You just haven't faced it yet. And that's not weakness by any means. That's just being human. But staying there, that's the choice. You know, this life be lifing stuff, the devil out here playing, the excuses that we make for ourselves. When we do that and we stay there, after we figure it out and we still stay there, that's a choice. Because the moment you decide to stop avoiding it, to stop making the excuses, stop telling yourself the stories and keep you in your comfort zone, everything changes. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you finally got it clear. And when you're clear, you're moving different. You're deciding different. You show up different. So if you've been waiting, if you've been avoiding, if you've been telling yourself, I'll get to it later, this is your moment. Your moment to be honest with yourself. Call it what it is and take the step you already know you need to take. Because feeling off was a signal. This right here, this is the truth behind that signal. And growth doesn't start when everything is perfect. It starts the moment you stop lying to yourself. So let's be honest with ourselves. We deserve that. We deserve to be him. If this episode gave you something to think about, go ahead and subscribe to Dear Legacy. Drop a comment. I'd love to hear you being honest with yourself. If you don't feel if you don't feel like being vulnerable enough in the comments, go ahead and DM me. I want you to know that I see you and I believe that you're him. Because let's not get this shit twisted. I'm him. And just because I'm him doesn't mean you can't be him. You've been him since birth. Now go prove it. Follow us on social media and share it with someone you know that's building their legacy in real time. Till then, go define it, build it, live it. It's your boy Kevin B. the Brand, and I'll see you next week. I promise. Peace.